Have you ever wondered why some people seem to have so little, yet their lives are filled with peace, joy, and barakah, while others have endless wealth, yet their hearts remain restless and empty? Ibn Arabi, the great Sufi master, revealed that true wealth is not found in gold, property, or possessions. It is hidden in something far deeper, something that most people overlook every single day. In this video, we'll uncover the verse of wealth and barakah, the secret that Ibn Arabi and the saints of Islam taught for centuries. A secret that shows you how to unlock sustenance written for you, how to invite barakah into your life, and how to experience a richness that no money can ever buy. Stay with me until the end, because once you understand this, your entire view of wealth, rizq, and barakah will change forever. Every verse of the Quran is a living key. Ibn Arabi teaches that the Quran is not just words we recite, but doors we enter. Some verses unlock the heart, filling it with peace. Some verses shield us from harm. Others are hidden gates to rizq, sustenance and provision that flow directly from Allah. When we approach the Quran with sincerity, it responds by revealing its secrets. The verse of wealth and barakah is one such key. It is not simply about worldly riches, but about aligning your soul with divine abundance, so that blessings find their way to you naturally, without strain or fear of loss. This verse is known among seekers as a light that dissolves the darkness of poverty and anxiety. For centuries, believers have recited it with faith, trusting that Allah's promise of rizq never fails. It is not a verse of magic or superstition, but a verse of remembrance, reminding us that Allah alone is the provider. The more you return to it, the more you witness how your needs are met in ways beyond imagination. Ibn Arabi often explained that rizq is already written for you, but the heart that remembers Allah receives it with ease, while the heedless heart struggles to grasp it. This verse is a reminder to open yourself to what Allah has already prepared. To unlock the full blessing of this verse, the practice is simple yet profound. After Fajr and Maghrib, sit quietly and recite it 3 times. Begin with Bismillah, allowing the words to settle in your heart, not just on your tongue. Once you finish, lift your hands and make a dua. Do not only ask Allah for wealth, ask Him for barakah in your wealth, your time, your health, and your family. Wealth without barakah becomes a burden, but wealth with barakah multiplies and nourishes every aspect of your life. Ibn Arabi would remind his students that the secret is not in quantity, but in the divine quality. Ibn Arabi, the great master of Sufism, often reminded his students that the true meaning of rizq, sustenance, is far greater than what most people imagine. When people hear the word rizq, they usually think of money, property, food, or material possessions. But Ibn Arabi explained that rizq is every single blessing Allah places in your life. Your health is rizq. Your family is rizq. The knowledge you carry is rizq. The peace in your heart, the friendships that uplift you, even the simple breath in your lungs, all of these are rizq from Allah. If you reduce sustenance only to money, you close your eyes to the countless treasures already surrounding you. He would say, a man may fill his home with gold, but if Allah removes barakah from it, he will find no peace, no joy, and no satisfaction. Yet another may live humbly with little in his hands, but because Allah has placed barakah in his life, he feels rich, his heart is light, and his days are full of contentment. This is the hidden secret of provision. Rizq without barakah is like pouring water into a broken vessel. It slips away no matter how much you add. But rizq with barakah is like a spring that never runs dry. No matter how much you use, it multiplies silently and continues to nourish you. The Prophet Muhammad, peace be upon him, said true wealth is not measured by how much of the world you own, but true wealth is the wealth of the soul. Ibn Arabi, built upon this teaching. He explained that when the heart is filled with Allah, even small provisions feel vast and abundant. A morsel of bread tastes sweeter than a banquet. A simple garment feels finer than silk, because the soul is content. But when the heart is empty of Allah, no amount of wealth can ever satisfy it. Look at the kings of history. They built palaces of gold and sat on thrones of power, yet many of them died restless, greedy, and miserable. Their hands were full, but their hearts were empty. Ibn Arabi also reminded his disciples of what the Prophet, peace be upon him, taught. When the soul is placed in the womb, 4 things are written: lifespan, deeds, rizq, and whether the person will be among the blessed or the wretched. This means your provision was written before you ever opened your eyes to this world. What Allah has written for you will reach you. No one can take away what Allah has decreed for you, and no one can give you what Allah has not destined. When a believer truly understands this, his heart becomes calm. He no longer chases wealth with desperation, nor fears poverty as if it controls his fate. Instead, he places his trust in Allah's promise, and whoever relies upon Allah, He is sufficient for him. Indeed, Allah will accomplish His purpose. Allah has already set a destiny for everything. Surah At-Talaq 65:3. For Ibn Arabi, the secret of Rizq is not in chasing it endlessly, but in aligning yourself with the source of all provision, Allah. When you remember Him, when you recite His verses sincerely, when you live with honesty, gratitude, and trust, Rizq comes to you. Sometimes it appears in clear and visible ways: a new opportunity, an unexpected source of income, a door suddenly opening when all seemed closed. Other times it comes in hidden forms: a sickness removed before it worsened, a worry lifted from your heart, a problem solved before you even knew it existed. Rizq is not always money in the hand. Sometimes it is peace in the heart, or safety in the path ahead. Ibn Arabi would tell his disciples, "Do not chase Rizq as if it hides from you. Chase Allah, and Rizq will chase you." This is the wisdom of the Quran and the way of the saints. Chasing wealth endlessly only leads to exhaustion and disappointment, but walking the path of remembrance and trust brings both peace and abundance. He also warned that the most blessed rizq is that which is earned through halal means and spent with gratitude. Wealth that is gained dishonestly or spent wastefully may glitter for a short time, but it leaves behind emptiness and regret. By contrast, wealth that is pure, even if small, becomes a source of light in your home, food for your soul, and a means of drawing you closer to Allah. So when you recite the verse of wealth and barakah, remember this teaching: you are not asking Allah only to increase numbers in your account. You are asking Him to fill your life with blessing, to make what you already have enough, to open doors of sustenance that keep you connected to Him, not distracted from Him. Ibn Arabi's wisdom shows us that the greatest form of rizq is not gold, silver, or possessions. It is contentment, the heart that is at peace with Allah's decree. And the heart that finds contentment through Allah is the richest heart of all. Ibn Arabi, the great master of the inner path, would often tell his disciples that the true secret of rizq is not simply in recitation, nor only in action, but in the state of the heart. Reciting the verse of wealth and barakah is powerful, yes, but it is only one half of the journey. The other half, the deeper secret, is trust, surrender, and alignment with the will of Allah. Without this inner state, the tongue may move in remembrance, but the heart remains restless. He explained it with a simple image. Imagine a farmer who plants seeds in the earth, but spends every day digging them up in fear that they will not grow. Such a man, no matter how many seeds he plants, will never see a harvest. Why? Because he lacks trust. In the same way, the one who recites verses but doubts Allah's promise, who fears that his sustenance may not arrive, is like a farmer destroying his own crops. But the one who plants his seeds with certainty, waters them with dua, and leaves the growth to Allah, he will see abundance beyond measure. This is the deeper secret. The rizq is already written. The recitation, the dua, the acts of worship, these do not create rizq. They open the heart to receive it with peace. They remove the veils of worry and doubt that block a believer from noticing the countless ways Allah is already sending him sustenance. When you recite with sincerity and then release the matter to Allah, you are freed from the chains of anxiety. You no longer spend your nights in fear of tomorrow. Instead, you live each day in the certainty that what is meant for you will reach you, and nothing in the heavens or earth can stop it. The Prophet Muhammad, peace be upon him, said, "If you were to rely on Allah with the reliance he is due, he would provide for you as he provides for the birds. They leave their nests hungry in the morning and return full in the evening." This teaching captures the essence of the deeper secret. The bird does not sit in its nest, expecting food to fall into its beak. It takes flight, it moves, it seeks, but it does so without fear, without despair, trusting completely that Allah has placed its provision in the path ahead. And every evening, the bird returns satisfied. This is the balance of trust and effort. Ibn Arabi emphasized this balance to his students. He said, "Do not mistake trust in Allah for laziness. To sit idle and claim that rizq will come is arrogance, not trust, but to exhaust yourself with greed, as if rizq depends only on your effort, is blindness." The path is between these two extremes. Strive with honesty, but rest your heart in Allah. In this way, a believer works with his hands, but keeps his heart free. He does his part, but he knows that success does not come from his effort alone. It comes from Allah's permission. The deeper secret also lies in gratitude. Ibn Arabi taught that gratitude itself attracts more rizq. The Quran declares, "If you are grateful, I will surely increase you. But if you are ungrateful, indeed my punishment is severe." Surah Ibrahim 14:7. Many people chase wealth endlessly, yet they overlook the wealth already in their hands. Their eyes are always on what they lack, never on what they have. Such a person is poor, even if he owns much. But the one who is grateful finds richness in the simplest of things. He thanks Allah for his health, his family, his daily bread, and his heart becomes vast enough to receive more. Ibn Arabi explained that the heart which is ungrateful is like a locked container. Nothing new can enter it. But the heart that gives thanks is like an open vessel. It is always ready to be filled. Another part of this secret is patience. Sometimes Allah withholds certain rizq not out of anger, but out of mercy. There are times when receiving what you desire too soon could harm you, distract you, or lead you astray. Ibn Arabi reminded his followers that Allah is Al-Hakim, the All-Wise. What he delays for a reason. What he gives at the perfect time. The believer who trusts this does not despair when things seem delayed. He knows that Allah's timing is better than his own. Just as a child may cry for the sweetness of honey while being too young to digest it, Allah withholds some rizq until the servant is prepared to handle it with maturity and wisdom. One of the most striking lessons Ibn Arabi gave on this topic was this: true rizq is not what enters your hand. True rizq is what benefits your soul. He explained that sometimes money enters your account, but it brings worry, greed, or arrogance. This is not rizq, even though it appears to be wealth. At other times, an opportunity comes, or a friend appears, or a door opens unexpectedly. And though no gold or silver is involved, Your heart expands, your faith deepens, and your life improves. This too is rizq. The deeper secret is learning to see rizq not only in coins and currency, but in moments, relationships, peace of mind, and even in trials that purify you. He often quoted the Quran, and he provides for him from where he does not expect. Surah At-Talaq 65:3. Rizq often comes in ways the mind cannot predict. The believer who trusts Allah sees provision in unexpected places, in a smile in an answered prayer, in a door that seemed closed but suddenly opens. Ibn Arabi said, "Do not measure rizq by the scale of the marketplace, measure it by the scale of the soul." So the deeper secret of reciting the verse of wealth and barakah is this. Let the recitation soften your heart. Let it remind you that Allah is the source, and let it strengthen your trust in His promise. Do not cling to outcomes with desperation. Do not measure your success only by material increase. Measure it by the tranquility of your heart, the gratitude in your soul, and the closeness you feel to your Lord. When you recite with sincerity and pair it with trust, patience, gratitude, and reliance, rizq flows to you naturally, sometimes in the form you ask for, sometimes in a form you never expected, but always in the form that is best for you. This is why Ibn Arabi would say, "Seek Allah, not rizq. For when you find Him, rizq will find you, and when you find Him, even without rizq, you will feel rich." Ibn Arabi, the great master of unveiling, often reminded his disciples that there is a difference between wealth that simply comes and wealth that transforms. The first may fill your hands, but the second fills your life. This second type of wealth is called barakah, and walking the path of barakah is the secret to turning ordinary provisions into extraordinary blessings. Barakah is not measured in numbers. You cannot calculate it by counting coins or weighing gold. Barakah is the unseen increase that Allah places in something small, making it feel vast, sufficient, and nourishing. One loaf of bread, when blessed, can feed a family. A single day, when blessed, can accomplish the work of a week. A small income, when blessed, can build a life of stability and peace. Without barakah, even mountains of wealth vanish. With barakah, even drops feel like oceans. Ibn Arabi explained that walking the path of barakah requires the heart to be aligned with Allah's light. It begins not with greed, but with gratitude. The grateful heart multiplies blessings, while the ungrateful heart reduces even abundance to dust. He would say, "The one who counts his blessings will never be poor, and the one who ignores them will never be rich." Gratitude unlocks a door in the unseen. When you give thanks, Allah increases not only your provision, but also your ability to see the hidden blessings already present in your life. The path of barakah also requires purity, purity of income, purity of intention, and purity of action. Wealth that comes through dishonesty, deceit, or oppression may glitter for a moment, but it carries no barakah. Ibn Arabi warned his students that impure wealth is like poisoned water. It may quench your thirst briefly, but it leaves behind harm. True wealth must flow through halal means, for only then can it carry Allah's blessing. A man who earns a small amount with honesty and spends it with gratitude will feel wealthier than the one who fills his coffers with deception. Another step on this path is generosity. Barakah grows when it is shared. Ibn Arabi taught that wealth held tightly in the fist suffocates, but wealth released in the path of Allah multiplies. The Quran describes it. The example of those who spend their wealth in the way of Allah is like a seed that grows 7 ears. In every ear are 100 grains. Surah Al-Baqarah 2:261. This is the mathematics of the unseen. One act of charity, though small, can bring back abundance in countless ways, not only in wealth, but in health, protection, peace, and spiritual growth. Walking the path of barakah also means living with contentment. Ibn Arabi taught that contentment, rida, is the crown of the believer. When you are content with what Allah has written, you stop measuring your worth by comparison to others. You no longer look with envy at what is in another's hand. Instead, you see richness in what you already have. This state of the heart is itself a form of barakah, because it frees you from endless desire. Desire is a fire that never stops consuming, but contentment is a fountain that never stops giving peace. The Prophet Muhammad, peace be upon him, said, "Richness is not having many possessions. Rather, richness is being content with oneself." Ibn Arabi explained that contentment transforms even little into plenty. A small home feels like a palace. A simple meal tastes like a feast. Time stretches, relationships deepen, and the soul rests. This is the hidden miracle of barakah. Patience, sabr, is another key. Ibn Arabi said that Allah sometimes withholds provision not as a punishment, but as a protection. What seems like delay may be preparation. What feels like emptiness may be clearing space for a greater blessing. Walking the path of barakah requires trusting Allah's timing. The believer knows that Allah is never late, nor does He ever forget. Barakah comes when it is most needed, not always when it is most wanted. Trust, tawakkul, crowns this path. The one who walks with tawakkul does his work, but does not tie his heart to the work. He seeks, but does not panic. He plans, but does not despair. Ibn Arabi compared it to sailing a ship. You set your sails, you guide the vessel, but the wind belongs to Allah. Without His wind, the ship does not move. With His wind, even a small vessel can cross great oceans. So it is with rizq and barakah. Effort is required, but the result belongs to Allah alone. Finally, Ibn Arabi taught that remembrance, dishur, nourishes barakah. The more you remember Allah, the more He remembers you. And when Allah remembers you, He places light in your path and blessing in your affairs. Reciting the verse of wealth and barakah is itself a form of dishur, but its power multiplies when accompanied by a life of constant remembrance, remembering Allah in speech, in heart, and in action. A heart alive with dishur is like a garden constantly watered. Even in dry seasons, it blooms. So walking the path of barakah is not a mystery hidden in distant lands. It is a journey available to every believer here and now. Be grateful for what you have. Purify what you earn. Share what you are given. Be content with Allah's decree. Be patient with His timing. Place your trust in Him completely and keep your heart alive with remembrance. When you do these, you will see barakah flowing into your life in ways you never imagined. Ibn Arabi's wisdom reminds us, wealth without barakah is emptiness, but wealth with barakah is abundance. And the greatest barakah of all is not in your hand, but in your heart. The peace of knowing that Allah is with you, providing for you, guiding you, and blessing you in every step of your journey. Ibn Arabi, may Allah's mercy be upon him, often reminded his disciples that the greatest secrets of life are hidden in plain sight. People chase treasures across oceans, climb mountains in search of fortune, and spend years of their lives pursuing wealth and recognition. Yet the true treasure lies within the heart. This is the hidden secret of true wealth. When most people hear the word wealth, they immediately think of gold, money, lands, or possessions. They imagine banks filled with riches, houses glittering with luxury, and tables overflowing with food. But Ibn Arabi explained that this is only the outer shell of wealth. The true kernel, the real essence, is something deeper, and it is something many people miss. True wealth, he taught, is Ghina ul-Nafs, richness of the soul. It is the inner state of sufficiency, the heart that says, what Allah has given me is enough. This wealth cannot be stolen, cannot be diminished, and cannot be shaken by market crashes or worldly loss. It is the wealth that turns even little into much, and it is the only wealth that follows you to the grave. The Prophet Muhammad, peace be upon him, said, "Wealth is not in having many possessions. Wealth is in being content with oneself." Ibn Arabi would expand upon this. The man who owns the whole world yet remains restless is a beggar. The man who owns little yet his heart rests in Allah is a king. This is the heart of the matter. The pursuit of material wealth often blinds a person. They think they are free, but in reality, they are chained. Chained to anxiety, chained to comparison, chained to endless striving. They spend their nights awake worrying about what they might lose, and their days exhausted from chasing what they do not have. But the one who understands true wealth lives in freedom. His possessions do not own him. His bank account does not define him. His joy is not tied to the ups and downs of the world. Instead, his wealth is in gratitude, in remembrance, in connection to Allah. Whether he has much or little, his heart is at rest. Ibn Arabi used to describe Rizq as a flowing river. Everyone has a portion written for them, and that river will reach them in due time. You cannot drink the water that was destined for another, nor can anyone drink the water written for you. The foolish person runs upstream, exhausting himself, thinking he must chase the river, but the wise person sits by the appointed bank with trust in Allah, and the river flows to him at the perfect time. This does not mean laziness. Ibn Arabi did not teach people to abandon effort. He taught them to abandon anxiety. Effort is part of worship, but desperation is not. A farmer plants seeds and waters his land, but he knows that rain comes only from Allah. Similarly, a believer works with sincerity, but his heart rests in the certainty that Rizq is already written. Ibn Arabi divided wealth into two kinds. One, wealth of the hand, money, property, and possessions. This can be good if it is used rightly, but it is always temporary. It can increase or decrease, and it can leave you at any moment. Two, wealth of the heart, contentment, barakah, and closeness to Allah. This wealth is eternal. It grows the more you use it, and it never abandons you, not in this world, nor in the next. He warned his students never to confuse the two. Many people spend their whole lives gathering the wealth of the hand while neglecting the wealth of the heart. They think they are rich, but in reality, they are poor. On the day of judgment, when all hands are emptied, only the wealth of the heart will remain. Barakah in the small things. Ibn Arabi would often give simple examples. He would say, "Fad is man may have 10 gold coins, but no barakah in them. They vanish quickly, leaving his hands empty. Another man may have only 2 coins, but Allah places barakah in them. They feed him, clothe him, and still remain." He would remind his disciples that barakah is not about multiplication in numbers, but expansion in sufficiency. It is the sweetness in simple food, the peace in a small home, the health in a humble life, and the serenity in a quiet heart. Without barakah, even abundance feels empty. With barakah, even little feels like treasure. The veil of desire. Ibn Arabi also warned about the veil of endless desire. He said that desire is like a mirage in the desert. The more you chase it, the more it recedes. The man who spends his life chasing wealth never arrives. When he reaches one goal, 10 more appear. He dies with his thirst unquenched. But the one who tames his desires and fills his heart with remembrance of Allah sees reality as it truly is. He drinks from the fountain of contentment, and his thirst is quenched. He no longer looks outward in desperation. Instead, he looks inward and upward, inward at the wealth of his soul, and upward to the provider of all risks, wealth that lives on. Another secret Ibn Arabi revealed is that wealth used in the path of Allah never dies. Money you hoard will leave you, but money you give remains. The Christum promises, whatever you give in the way of Allah, He will replace it, and He is the best of providers. Shura Saba 34:39. Charity is not loss, it is investment. It is planting seeds in the field of the hereafter. Ibn Arabi said that every coin spent sincerely in Allah's path returns not only as reward, but as light in the heart. And that light is the truest wealth, because it travels with you beyond this world. The grand secret. So what then is the final secret of wealth and barakah according to Ibn Arabi? It is this: wealth is not about possession. Wealth is about perception. If you see Allah in what you have, you are rich. If you see only the world, you are poor, no matter how much you own. The Prophet Muhammad, peace be upon him, said, "Look at those below you, and do not look at those above you, lest you belittle the blessings Allah has given you." This is the formula for true wealth. Do not measure yourself by what others possess. Measure yourself by how much you remember Allah, how grateful you are, and how much peace lives in your heart. Ibn Arabi would end his gatherings with a reminder that echoed in the hearts of his students long after they left. He said, "The richest man is not the one who fills his coffers, but the one who empties his heart of everything except Allah. For the one who has Allah, what more can he lack? And the one who loses Allah, what benefit can he gain from the whole world?" So when you recite the verse of wealth and barakah, remember you are not simply asking Allah for coins, houses, or possessions. You are asking Him for sufficiency, for barakah, for light in your provisions and richness in your soul. You are asking Him to make what you have enough, to protect you from greed, to bless your time, your family, and your health, and to give you the peace that no worldly treasure can buy. This is the path of the seekers, the wisdom of Ibn Arabi, and the true secret of endless wealth and barakah, a heart content with Allah. So my dear brothers and sisters, the secret of wealth and barakah is not in chasing the world. It is in turning back to Allah. Money, possessions, and status will come and go, but the wealth of the heart remains forever. Ibn Arabi's wisdom reminds us that the richest person is the one who is content, the one whose heart rests in Allah's remembrance. If this message touched your heart, take a moment to reflect what blessings has Allah already placed in your life that you may have overlooked. Start with gratitude and watch how barakah unfolds in ways you never imagined. And remember, this is only the beginning. In every verse of the Quran, in every teaching of our beloved Prophet, peace be upon him, and in every word of wisdom from the saints lies a key to unlock peace, abundance, and closeness to Allah. If you found value in this video, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe, so more people can benefit from these timeless teachings of Sufism and the wisdom of Ibn Arabi. May Allah fill your life with endless wealth, endless barakah, and endless light.